Arsenal lineups versus Manchester United, decided as Victor Gyökeres call made. Arsenal renew their historic rivalry with Manchester United on Sunday when the two sides meet at the Emirates Stadium in the Premier League. While the gap between the clubs has widened in recent seasons, fixtures of this magnitude rarely follow the form book, and Mikel Arteta will be determined to field his strongest possible 11 as the Gunners continue their title push. Arsenal head into the contest boosted by the return of Riccardo Calafiori and Piero Hincapié to full training on Friday. The defensive duo had both been sidelined in recent weeks, but their involvement in a critical session has left Arteta with important selection decisions to make. With Arsenal edging closer to full strength, competition for places has intensified across the squad. Football.London chief Arsenal correspondent Tom Canton believes Arteta should make a bold call in attack by rewarding Gabriel Jesus with a starting role ahead of Victor Gyökeres. Jesus was outstanding in midweek as Arsenal demolished Inter Milan at the San Siro, scoring twice and displaying the sharp poacher's instinct the team has occasionally lacked this season. According to Canton, the Brazilian's performance warrants a place from the first whistle against United. Elsewhere in the team, Canton sees little reason for wholesale changes following Arsenal's most recent Premier League outing. Several key players were given valuable rest during the Champions League victory in Milan, allowing Arteta to maintain continuity while still benefiting from freshness within the squad. Despite Calafiori and Hincapié pushing for minutes, Canton believes this fixture may come too soon for either defender to return to the starting lineup. As a result, Julian Timber is expected to retain his place at left back, while Ben White comes back into the side at right back. The defensive unit will likely face a stern test from Manchester United's attacking threats, including the pace and power of Bryan Mbeumo. In midfield, the familiar trio of Martin Zubimendi, Declan Rice, and Captain Martin Odegaard is tipped to provide balance, control, and creativity. Bukayo Saka and Leandro Trossard are expected to operate in wide areas, offering width and goal threat, while Jesus leads the line. Canton's predicted Arsenal lineup to face Manchester United is Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Jesus, Trossard. With big calls made and key players returning, Arteta's selection could prove decisive in another chapter of this famous rivalry.
Arsenal handed. Huge double injury boost ahead of Manchester United clash. Before we continue, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss any Gunners news here on Arsenal Stage News. Arsenal have received a major boost ahead of their highly anticipated clash with Manchester United after both Riccardo Calafiori and Piero Hincapié were spotted back in full training with the squad. Sky Sports cameras captured the defensive duo taking part in a key session at the Soba Realty Training Center, offering welcome news for Mikel Arteta at a crucial stage of the season. Both players have been sidelined for several weeks, leaving Arsenal stretched defensively during a demanding run of fixtures. Hincapié last featured in the Premier League against Liverpool, where he was forced off after 57 minutes with what initially appeared to be a worrying injury. Arteta expressed hope at the time that the issue was not serious, and those hopes now seem justified with the Ecuadorian international back on the grass just 2 weeks later. His return could have immediate implications for squad selection. Teenager Miles Lewis-Skelly impressed during Arsenal's recent victory in Milan, showing maturity beyond his 19 years, but the availability of Hincapié will inevitably increase competition for minutes in the defensive line. Arteta now has the luxury of experience alongside youth as he prepares for the visit of Manchester United. Meanwhile, Riccardo Calafiori's return is equally significant. The Italian defender has been out since picking up an issue in training in what was a particularly frustrating setback. Calafiori had been named in the starting lineup for Arsenal's match against Brighton, but was forced to withdraw during the warm-up, with Lewis-Skelly stepping in at left back. Since then, Arsenal have had to manage his absence carefully. With Calafiori nearing full fitness, the former Bologna man could soon reclaim his place on the left side of defense. However, Arteta may choose to ease both players back into action, with Arsenal set to face Kairat Almaty in the UEFA Champions League next week. That fixture could provide the ideal opportunity for Calafiori and Hincapi to rebuild match sharpness without the immediate pressure of a Premier League showdown. ARTETA is expected to provide further updates on their fitness during his pre-match press conference on Friday afternoon. Regardless, their return to training represents a timely boost for Arsenal as they continue to compete on multiple fronts and prepare for a defining period in their campaign.
Arsenal are considering a move for Atletico Madrid striker Julian Alvarez ahead of the upcoming summer transfer window, as Mikel Arteta looks to further strengthen his attacking options for the 2026-27 season. According to ESPN, the Gunners have begun exploring the feasibility of a deal for the Argentine international, although no formal approach has yet been made. Sources indicate that Arsenal's interest is still at the information-gathering stage, with the club assessing the financial demands and conditions required to potentially prize Alvarez away from Atletico Madrid. A key factor in Arsenal's growing confidence is the presence of new sporting director Andrea Berta, who previously worked at Atletico for several years and maintains strong relationships within the Spanish club's hierarchy. Alvarez had already been on Arsenal's radar prior to the signing of Victor Gyökeres, but the Swedish striker's inconsistent start in North London has prompted the club to reopen their search for a proven elite-level forward. While Gyökeres has shown flashes of quality, scoring his 9th goal of the season in Arsenal's Champions League victory over Inter Milan, he has struggled to consistently replicate the prolific scoring form that saw him average nearly a goal per game during his time at Sporting CP. In contrast, Alvarez has been enjoying an impressive campaign in Spain, emerging as a central figure in Atletico Madrid's attack and delivering standout performances both domestically and in Europe. His work rate, versatility, and clinical finishing have made him one of the most sought-after forwards on the continent, attracting interest from several top clubs, including Barcelona. However, any potential move will be far from straightforward. Atletico Madrid are determined to retain Alvarez and are expected to demand a significant transfer fee, reflecting both his importance to the squad and his rising market value. Competition from rival clubs could further complicate Arsenal's pursuit. Within Arsenal's current squad, Gabriel Jesus has recently made his case to remain a key figure after scoring twice against Inter Milan. While the Brazilian has expressed a desire to stay beyond his contract, which expires in 2027, no extension talks have yet taken place, and sources suggest Arsenal may be open to offers for him at the end of the season. With Kai Havertz nearing full fitness, and midfielder Michael Merino having filled in as an emergency striker during injury crises, Arsenal continue to compete on 4 fronts. Nonetheless, the club appears determined to add a top-class forward this summer, and Julian Alvarez is firmly back on their shortlist.
Arsenal suffer huge injury blow ahead of Manchester United clash. Arsenal have been dealt a major injury setback ahead of their highly anticipated Premier League showdown with Manchester United, with Kai Havertz suffering another concerning reaction to his long-term knee problem. The setback comes at a critical point in the season, as Mikel Arteta's side sits 7 points clear at the top of the table after 22 matches and look to maintain momentum in a tightly contested title race. The 26-year-old German forward has endured a frustrating campaign plagued by knee issues. Havertz has not started a competitive match since Arsenal's opening day victory over Manchester United on August 17, 2025. Where he initially suffered the injury that later required surgery. While his rehabilitation had been progressing positively, hopes of a full return have once again been delayed. In November, Havertz was reportedly just days away from rejoining the matchday squad when he sustained ligament damage in the same knee during final training sessions, forcing Arsenal to reset his recovery program. Although recent images shared by the club showed Havertz training in the gym and working alongside teammates in late January, his knee has reacted again in recent weeks. As a result, Arsenal's medical staff are carefully managing his workload to avoid long-term complications. Havertz was named in an Arsenal squad for the first time since August in the December 30th win over Aston Villa, but was subsequently left out of league matches against Bournemouth and Liverpool. His involvement has been limited to brief cameos, 21 minutes against Portsmouth in the FA Cup on January 11th, and just 8 minutes in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg versus Chelsea on January 15th. Despite being named on the bench for the Champions League clash with Inter Milan on January 21st, he did not feature. Encouragingly, Havertz showed flashes of his quality against Portsmouth, stretching the defense and linking play effectively despite clearly lacking full sharpness. Arsenal remained patient, prioritizing his long-term fitness over short-term gains, with scans and training responses set to determine the next steps. Meanwhile, Manchester United are also dealing with injury concerns of their own. Centre-back Matthijs de Ligt and striker Joshua Zirkzee are both doubts ahead of the clash, potentially weakening Erik ten Hag's options at both ends of the pitch. With key players sidelined on both sides, squad depth and tactical flexibility could prove decisive. As Arsenal chase their first league title in over 20 years, managing Havertz's recovery carefully while navigating crucial fixtures like Manchester United will be vital to sustaining their title push. Arsenal star to cost no more than £17 million is Ajax. Consider double swoop after Romano update. Arsenal could be set for a busy period of outgoing transfers, with Ajax reportedly considering a double swoop for Gunners players following confirmation of an agreement for Oleksandr Zinchenko. Meanwhile, Gabriel Jesus has emerged as a potential bargain option for European heavyweights AC Milan and Juventus. Mikel Arteta's side are enjoying an outstanding campaign and appear well-placed to finally end their long-standing trophy drought. Arsenal sit clear at the top of the Premier League table, 7 points ahead of their nearest challengers, while also remaining unbeaten in the Champions League group stages and progressing to the Carabao Cup semi-finals. Much of this success has been driven by the club's excellent recruitment in recent seasons, capped off by a £250 million investment last summer that many believe completed the squad. With the core of the team now settled, Arsenal's focus is shifting towards streamlining their squad rather than major additions. Highly rated youngster Ethan Nwaneri is close to securing a loan move to Marseille, while Zinchenko is on the verge of completing a switch to Ajax after a difficult loan spell at Nottingham Forest. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano confirmed earlier this week that Arsenal and Ajax have reached a verbal agreement for Zinchenko. Posting on X, Romano stated that the deal will be a loan until June, with Ajax covering the player's wages and the Ukrainian set to undergo medical tests in Amsterdam. Ajax's interest in Arsenal players may not stop there. According to Dutch outlet De Telegraaf, the Eredivisie giants are also considering a move for Christian Norgard. The Danish midfielder is among several options Ajax are evaluating as they look to strengthen their defensive midfield, alongside Manuel Ugarte, Wataru Endo, and former West Ham midfielder Edson Alvarez. Elsewhere, Gabriel Jesus has become the subject of growing transfer speculation, despite enjoying a resurgence in form. The Brazilian striker scored twice against Inter Milan in the Champions League and has recently outperformed Victor Gyökeres in Arteta's system. However, with his contract set to expire in 2027, Italian outlet Calciomercato reports that both AC Milan and Juventus are monitoring his situation. The report claims Jesus could be available for no more than €20 million, roughly £17 million, making him an attractive option for the Serie A giants. While Arsenal are expected to open talks over a new contract given his importance to the team, interest from Europe could test their resolve in the coming months. Arsenal have reportedly been told that a bid of around £21 million would be enough to seal a stunning January move for highly rated Brazilian midfielder Breno Bidon, a player already being dubbed the Brazilian Pedri due to his technical quality and maturity beyond his years. According to ESPN Brazil, Bidon's current club Corinthians have set their asking price at $150 million, a figure that translates to roughly £21 million, $28 million, as interest from Europe continues to grow. Arsenal are understood to be among the clubs most actively monitoring the situation, with offers expected to arrive before the February 2nd transfer deadline. Mikel Arteta has made no secret of his admiration for technically gifted midfielders, and Bidon fits the profile Arsenal have increasingly targeted in recent windows. Despite being just 20 years old, the Brazil under-20 international is already a key figure at Corinthians and has amassed an impressive 103 senior appearances, underlining his experience at first-team level. He has also started the new season brightly, registering a goal in his opening 3 matches. Bidon's style of play has earned him glowing comparisons in South America. comfortable operating as a deep-lying playmaker or advanced midfielder. He is praised for his composure in possession, close control, and ability to dictate tempo. Traits that have prompted fans and analysts to liken him to Barcelona and Spain star Pedri. A senior Brazil call-up is also believed to be on the horizon if his development continues on its current trajectory. Arsenal's interest in Bidon is not new. The Gunners were first linked with him in February last year, but reports suggest their pursuit has intensified this month.
On January 15th, it emerged that Arsenal had made direct contact with Corinthians officials to discuss the framework of a potential deal, signaling a serious intent to finally complete a long-term transfer mission. The move would further strengthen Arsenal's already strong Brazilian contingent, which includes Gabriel Magalhães, Gabriel Martinelli, and Gabriel Jesus. Elsewhere, Arsenal's January plans may not stop there. Transfer correspondent Fraser Fletcher has also confirmed Arteta's interest in Real Madrid defender Victor Valdepeñas,
as the Gunners explore multiple avenues to reinforce the squad.
Olympique Marseille have stepped up their interest in Arsenal wonderkid Ethan Nwaneri by submitting an official bid to sign the highly rated teenager on loan. The French club sent a formal proposal overnight, offering a 6-month deal that includes full salary coverage and a loan fee believed to be in the region of 3 to 4 million euros. Nwaneri is understood to be keen on the move, with Marseille currently leading the race ahead of interest from several Italian clubs, as well as Premier League sides Crystal Palace and Bournemouth, as he looks for valuable first-team minutes. Ben White has emerged as a notable name to watch ahead of the January transfer window, with Everton reportedly monitoring the Arsenal defender as they seek to address ongoing issues at right-back. The Toffees are understood to be considering a season-long loan move, viewing White as an experienced and reliable option who could immediately strengthen their defensive unit. White has endured a frustrating 2025-26 campaign at Arsenal, having slipped down the pecking order under Mikel Arteta. The 28-year-old has made only a handful of appearances across competitions this season, managing 5 Premier League outings and registering 1 assist. With competition for places intense in North London, White's limited minutes have inevitably sparked speculation over his future, despite his long-term contract running until June 2028. Everton's interest is driven by necessity as much as opportunity. Defensive instability, particularly at right-back, has been a recurring problem for David Moyes' side this season. White's versatility, Premier League experience, and ability to play both centrally and out wide make him an appealing target as Everton look to stabilize their backline during the second half of the campaign. A move away from Arsenal could also have international implications for White. With the 2026 World Cup on the horizon, regular game time is increasingly important for players hoping to stay on England's radar. White has earned 4 senior caps so far, and consistent performances at club level could enhance his chances of forcing his way back into Gareth Southgate's plans, something several England hopefuls are prioritizing by seeking more minutes elsewhere. However, despite the growing interest, Arsenal's stance appears firm. According to reports from Football Insider and Football.London, the Gunners have no intention of allowing White to leave during the January window. While the club may be open to listening to offers in the region of £20 to £25 million, any potential sale would only be considered in the summer, when Arteta has more flexibility to reshape his squad. Although White is said to be frustrated by his reduced role, reports suggest he is not actively pushing for an exit and remains committed to Arsenal for the time being. Manchester City have also been loosely linked with the defender, further underlining his continued reputation within the Premier League. For now, Everton's interest appears to be one to watch rather than an imminent deal, with Arsenal holding the final say as the January window approaches. Gabriel Jesus has given Mikel Arteta a major selection headache. Mikel Arteta and his coaching staff will have returned from northern Italy with one pressing question dominating their thoughts. Has Gabriel Jesus now played his way back into Arsenal's starting 11 for Sunday's Premier League showdown with Manchester United? Arsenal's impressive 3-1 victory over Inter Milan at the San Siro not only strengthened their grip on first place in the Champions League group, sitting top with 21 points, 6 clear of second-placed Real Madrid, but also reignited the debate over who should lead the line domestically. Jesus was the standout performer on the night, scoring twice in what was his most influential display since returning from a long-term ACL injury. The Brazilian striker, now 28, had not scored a brace since December 2024 against Crystal Palace, with 11 months on the sidelines understandably disrupting his rhythm. Even in recent substitute appearances, Jesus had struggled to make a decisive impact, aside from a bright cameo against Aston Villa in December. That all changed against Inter, where he looked sharp, confident, and clinical. Arteta now faces a difficult call: whether to drop summer signing Victor Gyökeres, who has started every Premier League game this season despite a lack of goals. Complicating matters further, Gyökeres came off the bench to score Arsenal's third goal in Milan, underlining his continued value to the side. "We have been missing Gabby a lot," Arteta said after the match. "This performance will raise his confidence and the team's. Having different profiles in that position only makes us better." There are other factors in play too. Kai Havertz, an unused substitute against Inter, is still awaiting his first start since returning from knee surgery, adding another layer to Arteta's attacking puzzle. Jesus, meanwhile, exuded calm confidence throughout the week. Speaking ahead of the match, he made it clear he wants to stay at Arsenal beyond his current contract, which runs until 2027, and win trophies at the Emirates. While talks over a new deal have yet to begin, continued goals across Arsenal's 4 competitions would only enhance his standing. Arteta has shown before that strong European performances do not guarantee league starts, as seen with Noni Madueke earlier this season. However, after 2 consecutive Premier League draws, leaving out a striker brimming with confidence would be a bold decision. Gyökeres' off-the-ball movement remains crucial, but goals remain a striker's true currency. On current form, Gabriel Jesus has reminded everyone exactly what he brings, and why Arteta's decision for Sunday could define Arsenal's momentum going forward. Arsenal may now have a perfect opportunity to revive their long-standing interest in Arda Guler following Real Madrid's shock decision to sack Xabi Alonso, a development that could open the door for a major transfer move. The Gunners have tracked Guler since before his move to Spain, having first been linked with the attacking midfielder back in 2022, when he was emerging as one of Europe's most exciting young talents at Fenerbahce. Dubbed the Turkish Messi, after breaking into the first team at just 16, Guler ultimately chose to join Real Madrid in 2023, despite strong interest from several Premier League clubs, including Arsenal. His early months at the Bernabeu were disrupted by injury, delaying his debut, but Guler quickly showed his quality once fit. He finished the 2023-24 La Liga season with 6 goals in just 10 appearances, underlining his elite technical ability and composure in the final third. It was under Xabi Alonso, however, that the 20-year-old truly established himself as a first-team regular. During Alonso's short spell in charge, Guler was repeatedly trusted in high-profile matches, even being substituted for Luka Modric on multiple occasions at the Club World Cup. Those decisions were widely seen as a signal that Alonso viewed Guler as Modric's long-term successor in midfield. However, the manager's dismissal could significantly alter that trajectory. According to ESPN, Arsenal remain keen on the Turkey international and are monitoring the situation closely. While a summer move is viewed as more likely, the report claims the Gunners would be open to acting in the January transfer window should the right deal present itself. From Real Madrid's perspective, faith in Guler's development played a role in their decision not to pursue Arsenal midfielder Martin Zubimendi last summer. Guler has already nearly matched his total minutes from last season, registering 3 goals and 10 assists across 30 appearances in all competitions, highlighting his growing influence. Following Alonso's departure, Guler paid tribute to his former manager on Instagram, thanking him for his trust and guidance. Their mutual respect was clear, with Alonso previously comparing Guler's style to club legend Guti and Arsenal icon Mesut Ozil. With his quality, he's a mix between Ozil and Guti, Alonso said. He has that something special, that natural talent you can't teach. With uncertainty now surrounding his role in Madrid, Arsenal could finally be presented with the chance to secure one of Europe's most gifted young playmakers.